steps forward, 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I've been kind of stuck on this video. I've been trying to figure out how I was going to do this video and kind of tell a little bit about our lifestyle on this boat. So here's my attempt. Boat living is great. We love it, but it does have some logistical challenges to it. And things don't always go as planned. In February 2022, we filled up the boat with fuel and we took off to Canada with our new batteries, thinking that we were going to anchor out and tour all of Canada and then just meet up with friends and go straight up to Alaska. Well, after anchoring out for a while, we just weren't sure that the inverter was working right with our batteries. Our dilemma was, if we went back to Alaska, we really wouldn't have the support to help us figure this out. So after debate, we went back to Anacortes and had our inverter checked out, and everything was just fine. But Eric felt better that we went back and had it checked. We then had to fill up with fuel again. That was painful. And catch up with our friends that we were going to be boating with going up to Alaska. And here we go. We're leaving Anacortes again. All checked out. Everything's fine. So we're off to Alaska. So we took off. We caught up with our friends in Nanaimo. And we started off on our journey. I think it was at the first anchorage that I got a phone call from a family member. My aunt, who was basically my third parent growing up, was going to pass away from cancer. And if I wanted to see her, I needed to get down there that week. Being in Canada, I wasn't really sure how I was going to do that for us, but we figured it out, and I'm going to share this here in case we have other boaters from the U.S. that get put into a similar situation that need to get back to the States quickly. We decided to fly out of Victoria International Airport because Alaska Airlines flies directly from that airport into the U.S. The problem is we were up by Campbell River. We decided not to fly out of the Campbell River Airport. We thought it might be easier just to rent a car and drive down the 3.5 hours to Victoria to catch our flight there. What do they say about boating? They say, don't have a schedule so that you don't have to fight the weather. Well, we had a schedule. We had to get to Eugene. We got across Campbell River. We got into the marina. It was blowing like 30 knots in there. We tried to get to our slip that they assigned us, and we tried several times, and Eric was really pushing on the bow and stern thrusters, and he just couldn't control the boat. And we found another slip, and thankfully the marina let us tie up at that slip. If you ever have to rent a car in Campbell River, here's a couple tips for you. 1, if you look on the internet, there is a budget rental car that is no longer in existence. So if you go there, you will not find a rental car place. You cannot rent a rental car from the airport unless you came in on a flight from the airport, and they will require a boarding pass. So from our marina to the budget car rental, I think it was a 12-minute drive. So it required a cab because although they have a shuttle, that didn't work for us either way. We then picked up the car at the budget place. We drove 3.5 hours to Victoria International Airport, which by the way is in Sydney. We chose not to take the boat from Campbell River to Van Isle Marina because 1, of all the diesel that we would use, 2, it would have been like a 2-day long run. So that is why we decided to drive. However, if your boat is close to Sydney, you can skip the rental car steps. The return was much easier. From Eugene to the Victoria Airport, grabbed our car, got back up to Campbell River, and we were going to be ready to go the next day. We went up to the Riptide pub, reset ourselves, had a nice meal, and got ready to take off in the morning to go catch up with our friends. They have been very gracious about this change in plans, and we just wanted to catch up to them as soon as we could. We're learning that being on a boat means that you may not stick to a schedule. You may have all the plans in the world, but chances are it's not going to go according to plan, and you just have to get used to it. And here we go on our third start from Canada to Alaska. The third time's charm, right? Once again, we're about to go across Queen Charlotte Sound, but we don't have enough time to do it tonight. So we decided that we would go ahead and anchor up in Skull Cove. We are headed into Skull Cove for the night. We've never been here before, so we will be documenting it. We're headed into here. One of the first things Eric taught me is if you see white water in the middle of someplace, you're probably also dealing with a rock. Oh my. Yes. I was wondering what that was. Eric's noticing the kelp right here, and that means it's shallow, so be careful. The forward-facing sonar. It would be low tide. This is the man who hates dogs and arrows. I'm really glad that we didn't go across the sound today, because this is pretty beautiful. right here.
Oh, please don't tell me to keep you off the rocks.
This is where we decided to anchor. It's a pretty tight little anchorage. We are in 17.4 feet of water.
Did you get a picture of the entrance? Because it's probably not a 75 foot. I mean, you don't want to be, yeah.
How wide do you think it is?
It's, you wouldn't want two boats going through there at the same time.
No, you wouldn't. And you don't like dotted arrows.
No, this is probably a little narrower than that, actually.
Quite a bit narrower. Only thing you're missing is the current. This is the opening that Eric was talking about. It was tight. This is to the right as you come in. And then you run into these rocks. Well, hopefully you don't run into them. And then there's a couple more small ones here. And that's where they have the anchor, the little anchor sign. Look at that view. You can see way out there and see the waves crashing. Wow, tide went up a little and look, those rocks are almost covered and it's not high tide yet. Still pretty.
This is why I like being on the boat. It heals you.
Well, we had a nice night's sleep. We held well. We're in 19 feet of water. It is 10 to 6. We are up and going. Kind of low tide, not as low as yesterday. Look at this. This is what I miss when I sleep in the morning, because a lot of times I just don't get up and Eric starts the boat without me. But today we're going across this Queen Charlotte Sound. I needed to get distant up to poop and pee. And she did it, so we are ready to go. Okay, I'm just taking a quick look at Windy. Eric's already checked the weather, but I'm doing a double check. It's all green, so that's somewhere about 15, maybe 20 knots of wind out there. Shouldn't be a problem for us. The good news, it's going in the same direction as us, so that's always good. By 7 o'clock, it's getting 9 o'clock. It's getting a little bluer, not much. Oh, and now we're into tomorrow. Tomorrow would be very nice, but we're leaving today. And off we go. Eric's a little concerned. He's got the anchor down so that he can try to get it clean, but once we get out of here, we're gonna probably start hitting some swells. A little more space today to get out. Not a lot though. So he's got the anchor cleaned, and now...
And he uses the fresh water wash to clean up the anchor well and get all the dirt and salt out of there.
He ties the anchor with a line to the cleat. Next we have an anchor block that Eric had made after the anchor was bouncing one day.
Levitating and then crashing down, yes. So we had this starboard, it's a plastic material anchor block made to keep the anchor from bouncing and levitating in strong head seas. It's disconcerting to see how I think it's a 115-pound piece of metal bouncing around on the pulpit. So that anchor block is meant to make that stop, not happen.
And we also have a door here that closes off this whole walkway so that it's safe. What were we anchored in last night? What kind of mud?
It was kind of chunky mud. It wasn't that sticky. It just had one side of the flukes that was full when I came to the surface.
Good holding?
It stuck the first time. I slept pretty good last night.
And we are headed out. The terrain in the open waters is really ruggedly beautiful.
You can really see how much power the water has. And we are off across Queen Charlotte Sound. Click like and subscribe to see the next part of our journey.
Havaseas you next time.